good evening, everybody, and welcome to Candid Conversations. I am your host, the laid back, down to earth life coach, Aisha Israel, and we are just about ready to begin. So, we have a pretty good lineup for you this evening. We have Ronnie Frost, who is the CEO of Frost Steam Labs. Did I say that right? Yeah, Frost Steam Labs. I'm so sorry if I messed that up. But she's going to tell you all about her journey and what she's doing these days and how she became to be a boss chick and what that is like. And you want to get your pen and paper because she has some very interesting information for you, and you may want to hire her soon. I don't really have anything exciting that happened with me this weekend, except for, well, you guys know my mom came home on Thursday. Friday was her birthday. We had an interesting geriatric birthday party at my house on Friday. But it was a lot of fun with my uncles and aunts and my mom. My mom was really happy, so I'm happy for her that she had just a really good homecoming. She had been in the hospital slash rehab center for like about a month, so it was good to get her back, and it's good having her home. But tonight we have some interesting questions as well. So get your wine, get your pen and paper, and get ready for girl talk later in the show. But right now, up next is our boss chick, Ronnie Frost. Hi there. I cannot hear you.
Hi, how are you? Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm good. Welcome to Candid Conversations. How are you today?
I am great. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, good. I see you repping your company with your t-shirt. Very
Yes, I'm always repping the company. Whenever I'm with the kids, I have a t-shirt on.
all right, very good. So I would when I introduced you, it's like I've been seeing your company for at least a week. And so I don't know why I got tripped up in the intro because Steam is all caps and that just stood out in my mind. I'm like, oh, did I say it wrong? So glad to know I said Frost Steam Labs. All right. And you are the founder and CEO. So how I normally do my boss chick interviews is I give my boss chick a little bit of time, like maybe a couple of minutes, just for you to introduce yourself and your company, and just kind of explain what you do. And then I have questions for you after that.
Okay, great. So in short, I teach kids how to code. That's predominantly what I do with my business. Kids ages from like 6 to 19, basically. I've been working with. I partner with nonprofits and schools, as well as I have individual parents who sign up their kids as in our group sessions, as well as I have a couple private clients.
Okay.
And yeah, so I teach the younger kids how to code using Scratch block style coding. And for the older kids, they write real code. Primarily, it's been HTML, JavaScript. And we're going to move into a very popular programming language called Python in the next couple of months. But yeah, I launched a company primarily to work with like underrepresented communities. I've been in tech for nearly 20 years. There's not a lot of people I work with that look like me. I've never worked with a Black female software engineer before. So my goal was to, diversify the STEAM industries as well as to, um, you know, let kids get excited or give kids another reason to be excited about what they learn in school. We create games primarily, and we can integrate subjects such as science, social studies. With science, physical science, the kids learn about velocity, gravity, even the younger kids. So the young kids and the older kids are creating pretty much the same games. We're just using different techniques. So they all get to learn about gravity. They get to kind of create the game as we go along, and they always have such wonderful, amazing ideas, and it's so exciting to see their minds, work, and to see them demo their work to their class, to the class, and to their teachers as well, to their parents. And it's exciting to see them like take pride in what they do, and also it's exciting to get kids even more interested in learning the various subjects. I've worked in gaming for 6 years, so it's exciting that kids always want to hear about that. They've heard of the games that I've worked with and have credits for, like Call of Duty. Um, it's so funny because most of them are elementary age. I'm
You're
sorry.
I said, wait a minute, Call of Duty. Now I've seen that on the shelf. So you have worked on that?
Yeah, I've done stuff with the Call of Duty studios. I did some
Wow.
programming around the companion app so that the in-game data can display in our companion app. So I worked directly with, we had three different studios that produced the game, like a different studio each year. They rotate. So
Okay.
yeah, I had to play the game for work, which a lot of kids find that interesting. Like, I tell them all the time, your parents may not support you playing video games, but you can get a job and a career
Right.
playing video games. I wish I'd played more video games as a kid. It was hard for me to kind of get up to speed on first person shooters and level up. Um, but yeah, kids find it exciting, and I try to, let them. I try to emphasize that the importance of doing well in their um, what they're doing in school now. Like a lot of times they don't see the use of it, but we
Yeah.
incorporate it. They learn about like how to move their character along the XY axis and different things. So it helps reiterate what they're learning in school.
Yeah. Now that's pretty cool. I'm sure you're pretty popular because that's what kids want to hear, right? They can make a career out of gaming because I have a son that he spends a lot of time on the video games. What was I going to ask you? So you were saying that you start with kids ages 6 and go to 19. So what age range would you say you spend most of your time with?
I would say it's been mostly elementary school students. Um, a lot of high schools are now offering computer science curriculum in the schools,
Okay.
and some of them now are requiring a computer science class for you to graduate, for the students to graduate high school. So, and this has been recent. I thought about doing this program for a while, so I've been seeing that recently. But I think it's really great to get kids, into coding at a younger age and into, learning how games are built. Because it can be intimidating. I think a lot of times my math and science subjects can be intimidating. So getting the kids excited about those subjects at a younger age, I think, is really important.
Okay. So I heard you mention software engineer. So is that technically your title? Like, does that describe what you do, or is that what your degree is in?
Right. I have a computer information systems degree, but software engineer, that's what I've done my entire career. So basically coding.
Okay. So now you're talking to somebody who I'm computer literate, but I'm not computer savvy. Let's say that. So when you say coding, that is the same thing as software engineering? Or is that are those synonymous terms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
so how did you get into working with children? Like, how did that come about?
So since I was a child, I'd been volunteering with my mom. She founded a nonprofit in my hometown, and we would do things like toy drives and things for kids. And there was a kid that approached my mom, and he wanted to start a tutoring program. And I think it was like in the sixth grade. And my mom had him talk to me. And this kid was serious. I sat with him and he just had a plan for how we could do it. He had some books and things that he'd gotten from the library to do the program.
Oh wow.
So I was just like, okay, this kid is super serious. He inspired me to want to do it, and that's how I got into it. We launched a tutoring program out of my church when I was in college. Like I may have been a freshman, or a freshman or sophomore.
Okay.
And after I got into tech, I wanted to, share what I was learning with the kids because I went to college and I didn't have an email address or email account. And it was just very intimidating. I felt so behind. I was like, oh my God, I have to email my homework. I grew up in pretty much a farm town in Arkansas with like 3,000, less than 3,000 people, no stoplights or anything. So I just didn't have a lot of access to technology. I didn't grow up with a computer like a lot of the kids I went to college with and had access to them, earlier. Um, so I was able to, so people knew what I was doing. I was telling people about the program, talking to businesses. I got some computers donated. I got like a small grant to buy some computers and a digital camera. And I would just do different projects with the kids to, introduce them to technology so that when they went to college, all this stuff wasn't, intimidating.
Okay, that's nice. So now you said you grew up in a small town, and where did you go to college?
Arkansas State University. So it was like the closest city. I think it had about maybe 75,000 people in that college town. So
It's just interesting to me only because I grew up in a large city and I moved to a large city. I am such a city girl. So, I mean, I have a friend, my daughter's godmother grew up in a town, and I remember when I met her, she said something about her town didn't have any stoplights, or maybe they had one stoplight, and that was just so foreign to me. But I find it interesting that you grew up in a small town and didn't have access to technology, but you ended up in a successful career in technology and gaming. Um, how do you make that journey? Like, were you in high school and like, how did you make the decision to go into that? I'm curious.
It's pretty interesting and random. So there was a period where a friend of my family, had this like basic programming, like a game for kids, and it had a book in it. And I was like 12, and I played with it. I made a little program that played music,
Okay.
um, and I learned about variables and looping and some basic computer science concepts, and totally forgot about it. Didn't know or think about I could create a career out of it. And this wasn't a computer; it was just like some little simple device. It was like a big calculator with like a small little screen that you can code with. And I remember I went to college with my mom. She took some classes at a community college,
Okay.
and they had this program, this Excel similar program. And I learned about using different operators and writing formulas in
Okay.
a way that was very similar to programming. So I had those two experiences when I was 12 and younger. And I got to college, and and I worked at McDonald's all this time, and stores, and I was wanting a nicer job. I couldn't get a job that wasn't fast food. Fast food is okay, but I was wanting to do something different. I'd done it for years. And like the summer of my junior year of college, I saw this job for updating department websites for the College of Business. I was an accounting major. I like numbers.
Okay.
So I applied. I kept seeing the job posting. I was like, I don't know anything about updating websites, but it sounds interesting. It was a lot of hours for the summer. Um, and I would get students, like high school students, that I would get to to help me. So I was like, oh, this seems like a cool job of responsibilities, and I'm in an office, you know.
Okay.
Um, so I ended up applying, and my statistics professor was over the website, and he was also an engineer. Um, and I applied for the job, and I told him I don't really have an experience, and he was like, "Oh, I'll train you." You know, I had a really good grade in statistics,
Mhm.
and he was just really, excited that somebody applied. And over that summer, I
Yeah.
learned HTML, CSS, some JavaScript.
Oh, wow.
And ended up doing a pretty decent job. And he was like, "You should consider, switching into computer information systems." Like, there was a graduate from our school who was like the CIO, Chief Information Officer, for a Fortune 60, I think at the time, company, who
Mhm.
hired interns from my college. So I got
Okay.
that internship, got more programming experience, and loved it. Like, I got some tech certifications. And it's just something that, like, I have attention issues. I'm sitting here trying not to fidget, but it's something that I can just really focus on. It grabs my attention. I love having a problem and figuring out how to solve that problem.
Okay.
And I love, mentoring others and teaching others. So, um, through the different jobs I got the opportunity to, do volunteer activities, with kids.
Mhm.
And I've gotten to volunteer with Black Girls Code and Girls Who Code over the years. And this is my passion. I went to an event, and like Lisa Nichols, and she's like a coach for coaches,
Mhm.
motivational speaker, and she did like Chicken Soup for the Soul, and or Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. I think she was the main writer or one of the writers, and also of The Secret. I was a big fan of hers.
Mhm.
Got invited to an event, and it was a weekend that I had Black Girls Code in the same city in Newport Beach.
Mhm.
And during that event, there was an exercise where you had to pitch something that you're excited about. And I
Okay.
couldn't think of anything. I was kind of burned out really with working in corporate America all these years. And then I was thinking that what's the one thing I do for free? I'm always like mentoring kids. So that's how I really got into it, and decided to like launch my own company.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. And I've had so many boss chicks on here that say that they did something like that where they found their passion. And it's like their passion, when somebody recognizes their gift, it propels them into success. Like I know that there are long, painstaking hours that you invest, but it just doesn't feel the same when you are, spending time developing your skill and your passion as opposed to working for somebody else. So, I mean, I just have seen so many smiles coming on this show when people are telling me about their passion and what they're doing. And I myself love kids, so I understand that. They make me laugh and smile every day. And I've taken a computer class or two. I'm trying to remember. I think this is gonna tell my age, but have you heard of Fortran and DOS? Okay, so so I mean, way back in the day, and yeah, those kind of steered me in the opposite direction of computer technology. My dad was a computer programmer, and my mom an accountant,
Wow.
and they were like not understanding what I was doing with my degree in psychology. Like, why? Well, at least my mom didn't really seem to have a problem. My dad was like, I just don't understand. So it's not for everybody, but I'm glad that you seem very happy in it and just willing to teach, our community, because I feel like our community is left out of so much. We don't have the information that a lot of other communities have. And so I think that contributes to our economic status as a whole. Everybody's different, but yeah, so I appreciate you just giving of yourself and giving of your time. But I always ask my boss chicks, because I mean, I bring you on here because I think you're a boss chick. I'm impressed with the moves that you've made and the things that you've done. But in your own words or through your own eyes, I want to know what makes you a boss chick.
What makes me a boss chick? I think it is my tenacity, my resilience. I think coming from where I come from to get here, it
Mhm.
took a lot of work and a lot of energy. I didn't have parents to, help me with college applications, scholarship applications, to kind of mentor me into this path that I ended up taking. So definitely, it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of trial and error. Like I'm told that I can just keep motivated,
Okay.
with the failure, with the challenge. I've just gotten into project management, my first project management job, and the director that I'm working with, he's always excited that we. A lot of project management is psychology. A lot of coding, like you run into these big problems. There's an issue someplace. Everyone's looking at you to find it ASAP. The company may be losing money. There's a big game launch. There's a lot of pressure.
Okay.
Sometimes, maybe you being maybe me being a black woman and a African American or black woman, people are like, have certain energy about me. They're doubting my skills before I've even done anything.
Yeah.
um, I've been on calls where I had to explain to people like, hey, I'm the engineer, and I'm asking you simply, where's your documentation? Like I've had people not wanting to talk. Like I show up, they don't want to, talk to me basically like, oh, where's your engineer? And I'm like, it's me. Like, so,
Yeah.
but with all of that, like I'm about the end result and getting the job done. And I think that's one of my biggest. Uh, I think one of the biggest things that makes me a boss. Like so many people get discouraged or get distracted based on someone criticizing them, or you know, we have like, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome and things.
Oh,
So I do a lot of work to like push through those things. I have my affirmations on the wall here in my office that I look at. And I remember even in my small town, I was talking to someone, a friend, and I was telling them my dreams.
okay.
And they're just like, well, how do you know you're going to graduate college? At the time, I wanted to be a lawyer.
All right.
They were like, how do you know you're going to graduate college? A lot of people don't graduate college. Like, I always knew that even though I seen so many people drop out, quit, that was not going to be me. I just knew if I kept with it, maybe I'll get an F or, don't make the grade I want to make on a paper or something like that. But I know if I put in the work, if all these other thousands and millions of people, did it, like I can do it.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're
so yeah,
inspiring others. Yeah. That's
I
good.
think it's grit too. I'm not afraid of hard work.
Okay.
When I was in college, I mean, I'm sorry, when I was in high school, I wanted to buy a car.
Mhm.
I worked two jobs, went to high school, still went to my classes, got straight A's still. Uh, People are like, you're gonna burn out. You can't, like, I get you can't all the time. I'm flying across the country doing different things now, also still working my full-time job at the moment, and people are like, you're gonna burn out, you can't do this, why don't you sit down? But it's like, I feel like, big things aren't accomplished easily, and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable at least for a small amount of time. But also too, I've learned to absolutely put self-care,
Mhm.
prioritize self-care. But
Yeah. Agreed. So, our segment is coming to a close, but I know that you do private contracts as well. So I know you're working with Black Girls Code, or you were working with Black Girls Code. But how can a school get in touch with you, or even just a private company get in touch with you if they want to hire you to teach the classes that you teach for coding?
a lot of people reach out to me via my website, froststeamlabs.org or fslabs.org. You can email me directly, LaRhonda, LaRhonda, at fslabs.org. F is in Frank, and then labs.org.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and allowing me to interview you. I think it's just so interesting. I like being able to hear about just the different careers and different choices that we've made and just how vast we are as women. I think Black women are dope. So anytime I get a chance to bring on a boss chick to tell us something that we might not be familiar with, at least the details of it, I'm just really excited. So I thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I know your story is so deep and so vast, and 15 minutes is not a lot of time to tell it all. Um, I'm hoping that you can still make contracts or whatever, get from this interview, and if you have any updates, come back and tell us about those. But before we move into the next segment, I would like to invite you to stay for Girl Talk. So, Girl Talk is where me and the other ladies we answer relationship questions, scenarios, personal truths. It's called Candid Conversation, so you have to be ready. We don't always know what the questions are going to be, but it's fun. Um, yeah. So, would you like to stay?
Sure.
All right. So up next, we're going to do our spotlight. And then when we come back from that, it will be time for Girl Talk. So sit tight, everybody. Oh, it's just me. So I have a really funny story. So Vanessa, our seasoned educator, our favorite teacher who always comes to give us the spotlight on education, she called off. I feel like this is a job. But anyway, so she called off today, and I told her I was going to tell everybody why she called off because I'm jealous. So last night she was hanging out with DJ Quick and shaking that monkey with Too Short. I'm not gonna show the pictures, but they are funny. So if you are a friend of hers, go to her Facebook page and you can see it all. But anyway, okay, so that was just a funny story I had to tell. Up next is Girl Talk. So go grab your wine really quick. I hope you can get it by the end of the intro because we are ready to get going.
Oh, yes, it's time for Girl Talk with Dawn B, Latanya, Udania, and yours truly, your laid back, down to earth life coach. All right, ladies, it's time to decide. Would you like a question, a scenario, or a personal truth? Think about it, but whatever you choose, just don't forget the wine. All right, now, it's time to get this conversation started.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hi.
It's good to see everybody. All right. I want to introduce the panel. So we had our boss chick, Ronnie Frost. So Ronnie, this is Latanya. Next,
Hi.
and
Well,
next to you is Dawn B. Hey
hi
there,
there.
Dawn B. You ready? Yeah, you've been ready. All right. So, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, or if it's been a while, let me tell you really quickly how this works. I hear a sound. Okay. So, every lady on the panel has an opportunity to choose a question, a scenario, or a personal truth. And when it is their turn, they have uninterrupted time to respond. And then once they're done with their complete answer, then the rest of us chime in with our 2 cents or 5 cents or whatever that may be. All right, so I always start with the lady who is next to me on the screen. So, Latanya, you are up first. Would you like a question, a scenario, or a personal truth?
I'm going to start with a scenario today.
I'm gonna start with a scenario. Okay.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Oh, this is one that I saw it on social media, so I pulled this off. Nobody submitted this. All right, so it says Kevin and Sarah are in a relationship. Kevin has been living in Sarah's house for the past 3 years and has been paying all the bills, including the mortgage. Sarah had been in her home 10 years before Kevin moved in. Sarah now wants to sell her home and downsize to an apartment because her children have moved out. Does Sarah owe Kevin any money from the sale of the home? That's perfect for you, Latanya. That sounds like a real estate question.
If what's his name, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
If Kevin was renting an apartment at someone else's place that he did not own, and that person decided to sell the building, do they owe Kevin anything?
Right.
Absolutely not. So unless they have an agreement or if they're married, then
No.
I would say no. And it's just there's something that they should have said. Kevin is a renter. Basically, he's staying there. She's had that home for 10 years before he moved in. Unless they have some type of agreement or, they have that understanding, then no, Kevin would be paying rent elsewhere. If they sold the property, then the landlord won't give Kevin a dime. Yeah. And the new owner will go up on the rent. So Kevin better sit down and chill out.
Yeah, but I think he probably had in the back of his mind, like, he's taking care of this woman and her kid. So, yeah, I mean, legally he has no right to that, but he's probably mad. He's probably mad about it.
So here's the thing. Sarah was taking care of her kids in that house for 10 years before Kevin decided to come along. Kevin knows the rules. You don't lay up with a woman or you are not allowed to be in her house without contributing to something. On the contrary, if she did earn something from the sale and they have that type of agreement, then if she did decide to give him something, then give it to him. But I don't think she has an obligation.
Dawn, it feels like you have something to say.
Well, I want to hear what.
That just sounds like one of those terrible math equations. Like Kevin got on the train at 3:00. He paid $3,000 on the 10th. What does he get on the 30th? Nothing. He gets to move to the next apartment and continue to pay the bills.
Right. Don't stop now. Ronnie, did you have anything to contribute?
I find that this is an interesting situation for me. Like, I had a divorce that was just finalized, a long-term divorce in California that was just finalized. And I own property here in California. And then I know that there's common law marriages. And I know how with the divorce, with the property, right? So even if I own a house, like the amount, if I own a house, I'm married, the amount the house appreciates for the time my partner and I live together. If I sold the house, I would owe them half of those funds. So I don't know what state Kevin is in terms of common law marriage, but technically I would say, like, if they were together in the home as a couple, I would say that he would probably deserve some of those funds.
I mean, he's going with her. They're going together to the apartment.
Right.
They're not divorcing. They're still together.
But still, they're still together. But if she,
selling
money on those funds for the time they were in the house, I think the fair thing to do if he was, providing that support would be to give him something, especially if they've been together for years. If she just been supporting him, this time and he wasn't making any money, wasn't really providing any real support, even though legally she would owe him something or whatever, I wouldn't feel that she would. But if the fact that he was providing, I think it would be fair if they're living together like they are married.
So we don't live in a common law state. I think that might be I don't think he would have a leg to stand on in Illinois, but in California he might. I think you're right. It depends on what state he's in. I mean, the law, because here,
tell me to shut up and go pay the rent at the apartment and buy a new couch. I would like a question, please.
Don, what's in that glass?
Maybe I do need a cocktail. I'm so impatient.
Okay, you said a question. We're done with that. All right, hold on. All right. What is the most important part in a relationship? Sex, love, trust, time? Maybe none of those.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyone
I'm
else?
single. I'm divorced. I've had boyfriends. I don't know nothing. I'm not trying to have a relationship. I'm like in a place where everything and nothing is important. Like happiness. Was that on the list?
It's not on the list, but if that's
The
your
most important thing in a relationship, in my opinion, is wanting to be in a relationship.
That's a really good answer, Dawn. Yeah, desire, right? The first thing is
Desire.
desire. I agree. I don't know if it's the most important, but it's definitely essential. I think I don't. It's kind of hard. I mean, I don't know that there's one thing that is the most important. I think respect is essential. Um, I think love is essential. But some of those other things I think come like preference. You know what I mean?
Trust is essential.
Trust. Yeah, trust is definitely essential. If you don't have
Trust
trust,
and time to me.
trust is what?
Trust and time are essential in a relationship or marriage. If you don't trust the person that you're with, then it just causes so many other issues within the relationship, like arguments, unnecessary arguments. Person can say they are one place, and then because you don't trust what they're saying, and that's an argument. Oh, you said this or that. Time is definitely important. When you're not spending time with your significant other, then that leaves everything open for you to roam, them to roam. It's like time is important in a relationship as well. I don't. What were the other options?
The other thing was sex, but I think that time is kind of on an individual basis. So I think time is important, but I think it's going to depend on the individuals in the relationship how much time or what you do
Right.
with time. So
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. I'm not saying I didn't specify
a lot.
like how much, but whatever that time is that you dedicate, if it is he goes one way and you he goes to his job or does his thing during the day, you do yours, and every Wednesday we have to at least have dinner together. That's time.
Gotcha.
Whatever works for the couple, but some
Right,
type of time, it is important, because somebody else will know your mate better than you because you eat. And it doesn't necessarily mean that something is going on. However, it's just like you don't even understand or know what's going on with your mate because you don't even spend time with that person. He or she is spending time somewhere else.
right. I think there's like a whole list, honestly. I think like communication
Yeah.
is important. Agreement is important.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you guys don't agree, I don't know how long that's really gonna last. But then I do know some couples that have been married, 50 years and they don't agree on a lot of stuff. So maybe not, but for me, agreement is important. Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ronnie, I didn't mean to dominate the conversation. Did you have anything you wanted to
I know I'm pretty quiet. But yeah, I agree. Like communication, I think is important. I don't think that was in your original list, but as you mentioned, respectful communication is important because you can disagree, but you can respect another person's opinion. I've been in situations where just because I have a different idea of something, that person's mad, and I'm not saying that things have to be done my way, but I'm like, oh, here's how I think. We should proceed with this, and then this like attitude because they, disagree. So just having respectful communication, and then, accepting that you are all both different people, have your own different experiences,
yeah,
but, hopefully you'll be able, you two can, like reach a common ground, like look for that.
agree. I do agree with that. All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's on you. Ronnie, would you like a question, a scenario, or a personal truth?
A question, I guess.
Question. Okay. Can you fall in love with someone you have not seen in person, but communicate with every day?
Hmm. This reminds me of a catfish episode where I'm like, how do these people fall in love? Like, they haven't had a video chat or anything with this person. They communicate
Oh,
with them through Facebook Messenger. I don't think I could. I'm also not a, love at first sight person either. I know that's a common question, so no for me.
okay. Did you, Latanya? Did you fall in love with
Mm-mm.
somebody you haven't seen?
No,
It did say seen,
no.
right? Somebody you haven't seen? Yeah.
Well, in person, so
I
I guess you could have
agree.
seen videos and stuff.
Okay.
I agree with that whole catfish thing. I've seen catfish too many times. I know people who've been catfished uh through Instagram before. So
Really?
I won't say who, but yeah, I've seen all of that before. So
Okay. I haven't. This is a show that comes on.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's basically this scenario where
Oh,
these ladies or men, they meet people and they have phone conversations. They never actually have a FaceTime or video call. It's a lot of messenger, and then whenever they decide to meet, it's either they'll meet the person and a person has been sending like old pictures or pictures of someone else. It's
well, we watch
every
this.
time I see that show.
Have you seen that on Netflix? The
What's the name of it?
the Circle. It's like it's intentional. It's my daughter and I have watched it. It's like they have people move into this apartment and they only communicate like via social media, but it's like, it's private social media. It's not, you know, public. Like we couldn't chime in. We're just watching the show. Some people are real, some people are catfish, but they only show pictures. Like they don't show video or anything. So they're just communicating by chat and like group and all of that. And they eliminate people based on like whether or not they think they're catfish. Or sometimes one season we saw they got rid of like almost all the real people, and I think a catfish might have won. I don't recall, but it's just interesting to watch. But being a catfish seemed like a lot of work to me. Like to not be your real self, that's a lot of work.
It is, and it like the times that I've seen the show Catfish, I'm like, dude, you deserve this because in 6 months, yo, dumb, you big dummy, like you didn't know, like, come on, man, this is stupid, like,
People are just starving for
Especially in 2022. 2020, anything. 2000, anything.
exactly.
Skype, FaceTime, camera, Facebook camera. I can call anybody in the world off through Facebook.
Yep.
That's true. Maybe they're not picking up because that movie that I know we're talking about a lot of stuff that's fictional, but the movie that had gosh, what is her name? Oh, Tiffany Haddish in it when she came home from prison, right? Wasn't her like the lady that played her sister? She
Yeah.
was
Mm-hmm.
somebody that she never saw in person, I think, because they ended up seeing Chris Rock. Wasn't it Chris Rock? Like they found him and he
I think so.
was in my mind. I just remember being me, but I guess in real life that wouldn't be funny. All right. I'm going to take a personal truth since nobody has. All right. Have you ever been cheated on? If so, how did you find out that you were being cheated on? That's my question. So, I wrote a whole book. You can get it on Amazon.com. Um, so that's true. You can go to Amazon.com and type in Aisha Israel book and it'll pop up. But okay, let me think. So many times I've been cheated on. So which time would I like to target right now.
Damn.
The first time I remember, I had absolutely no idea that it was going on. I think I found out because my boyfriend at the time told me he was somewhere. I believed him because we hadn't had any problems in our relationship. And somebody else I knew told me that they saw him, but it was a nonchalant type of conversation. They were like, "Oh, I saw such and such, like at Taco Bell," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, the Taco Bell, in this city," and they're like, "No, right down the street." And I was like, "Wait a minute," and I'm thinking, "Okay, he told me he was over here." So it was the fact that he lied, and now I'm like, "Okay, investigations begin." You know what I mean? And so it just led to me finding out that I was being cheated on. That's how I found out, accidentally. But I was young.
In my lifetime, definitely I have. I don't want to share the stories.
Well,
I would say that I was a private eye back in the day, and I found out a lot of things.
Okay.
And all my friends will tell you, Tanya, that girl, I'm talking about, I will break your voicemail code. I will have all your calls come into my phone and your phone will still be on. I will forward messages to your baby mama from this part. Like, I did it all. So
No, you 10 years ago.
this was, I was a tenderoni back then. I was
tenderoni, honey.
Wow.
I don't have the energy for it at this point. What you say?
I said you could start your own private eye company.
It's too much energy. It's not worth it. I used to break. If you wanted your spout, your boyfriend, girlfriend, baby daddy codes broken, just call me. And I'm so mad now. Like, I used to do it for free.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that's definitely a profitable skill.
Exactly. Like, now when I think about it, like, dang, you know how much money I could make from that? Didn't make a dime. But I used to give everybody the spiel, like, look, when I do this, you gotta be ready because it's gonna go down. When you get in these voicemails, when you go and they, okay, I'm ready. Then they come to me crying, like, didn't I tell you?
I should have never did that.
No, I think LaTanya and Ronnie could probably have some type of serious business going on. She's got the coding skills, the breaking skills.
She's a hacker.
A hacker, wow.
Well, you know what? I think most women are built like that. But it's a whole net craft. Just for the record, I've never been cheated on. Which means I didn't even investigate. No. Okay, I have one story. I have a couple, but let me see what would be the most entertaining one. Well, I didn't find anything out when I did a stakeout. I
did that.
I was dumb. This one was kind of ridiculous because I parked on the next block across Cottage Grove, and his kitchen window was facing that way, so he kind of seen me backing up down the block. And I saw him jump out the back door. I was like, damn, he on the ground. He's leaving. And then he popped up on me. I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, I got
John, you went in your own car, though?
It was dark. It was dark.
Yeah.
But you know what? Because he was cheating, he was on the lookout because he knew I wasn't no dumb. This is the one I did. College. I was getting cheated on so bad. I had no clue that my college boyfriend, my second year of school, had a girlfriend back at home. We were in Carbondale. Boom, everybody know who it was if they listening at one point. So he was graduating, right? I'm getting ready for the graduation party. And then my people come in like, listen, Dawn, you might not want to go because such gonna be there. I'm like, all right, who is that? They was like, oh, that's his girlfriend. I'm like, what? I'm going to the party. So I went to the party and I just started. And she was in there and he was like physically sick because that was my boyfriend during school.
Yeah.
He had a girlfriend in Chicago. So I just started collecting things that I left around the house because I was up in that house. You know what I'm saying? Like my Godfather tapes, T-shirts that she had, like beer, turkey bacon. I took all that shit back. And then, okay, fine. I got back with him once I left Carbondale, right? Because he left her.
You sure?
That was her girlfriend. Until I checked his voicemail on his pager.
He didn't leave her.
It was his address. Men make the passcode so very simple. So I put in his address. Boom, 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 boom. You have 3 new messages. And it was her. One of them was her like, bring my car back. You out there all of you still got my car. I was like, what? This dude be having my car too. Picking me up. I was working at the mall. Oh my God. So
wow.
I was dumb and I got cheated on for a long ass time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And they didn't even tell me until she came down to Carbondale. Y'all, they been new. They just let me just go.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Leave your turkey bacon over there.
You know what I'm saying? Getting stalked by other biddies on the campus one time at the same dude's house. This was his true ex-girlfriend, but she still went to school there. She used to stand outside the apartment.
No.
I know you up in there. She used to follow me through the mall. Oh, girl, it was nuts. I should have left him a long time ago. But I checked that message. It was the last time I checked the voicemail, though. I tell you that much.
So I didn't get to give you the prep talk. You went in.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and the phone was on the wall back in this time. I hung it up. I sat on the floor for a while. Like, you so stupid. You asked for this. And that's it. That's one of my cheat stories.
Yeah, you can have a whole show on my cheat stories. Okay, so
I was a cheater.
I
was a cheater though.
Oh, you were
mainly in most of my relationships.
Okay, so I'm just yourself. We don't have to talk about that.
Back in my heyday, he had to check my Sprint PCS bill to find out how I was cheating.
Oh yeah, the Sprint PCS bill. They documented everything.
I worked at Sprint.
Yeah. Girl, she had it all.
I had all the information.
I worked at Sprint PCS when it was Sprint PCS.
PCS.
Yeah.
Holy
okay.
I wish I knew you back in the day.
Yeah, right. LaTanya, it's rounded itself back to you. Question, scenario, personal truth.
I'll take a question.
All right.
Excuse me. I need to get up.
What do you call a man who has cheated multiple times, then blames you as the reason?
A dumbass. No, a narcissist.
And that's about it, folks.
A cheating one at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that type of man.
Definitely. I think the part where he's blaming you, that's
exactly.
Definitely. It's like, you're insane. That's the bottom line. You're cheating, but you're blaming me.
Well, I mean, he might be cheating because of your ass.
No, a cheater is a cheater. Either you a cheater or you not.
Right. Just bounce.
You can't blame it on nobody else. No.
I would say I wouldn't call that person anything. Like, you don't get anywhere.
He gets no.
Just leave them alone. Just,
right.
And I have so many friends who will, I've had some friends who will go round and round trying to figure someone out, trying to figure out why they doing this, why they doing that. Mm-hmm. You can't. Just let it go. It doesn't even matter. Like, I always tell people, catch them the first time and then leave them alone. Like, especially if you had to catch them. No, it's not worth it.
That's
Mm-hmm.
not a good sign. I told you no talking during the show. Moment home, everyone.
Huh?
All right, nothing. If you didn't hear it, we're great. Okay. So everybody says no. She
What
says
do you call a man that cheats all the time? You call him a cheater.
and blame
Right.
you for it.
A
And blame
cheater.
you like you're the
That's
reason.
definitely narcissistic.
Most of them say that though. I cheated because you wasn't
Yeah.
But I think that's people wanting to absolve themselves from the guilt. Like I think people cheaters will twist stories in their head all the time. Like I don't think they own up to it and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a cheater. I'm this liar, horrible person." Like
Some people.
Some people admit it and like deal with it.
Some
Oh,
people.
that's
yeah.
cool.
I'm admitting it. I used to be a cheater. I didn't cheat on my husband though, but
Other people.
I wasn't married. Shit, after a while, I was like, "How y'all doing over there?"
All right, Don. We have time for one more, maybe two. Depends on how long it takes us.
Okay.
So, like a question, a scenario, or personal truth.
Well, I don't know. Personal truth.
All right. How do you find confidence outside others' opinions of you?
How do I find confidence outside of other people's opinions of me?
What?
Well,
Everybody's opinion.
just imagine. I know, but so just imagine someone is in front of you and they ask you this question. Maybe they are having trouble finding confidence in themselves.
I don't know. I don't. Damn, I keep picking whack. This.
Want another
questions whack.
You want me to
How
throw
do I get confidence? I talk to the Lord in prayer. I don't know. I feel
You
like
look in. Like, who cares about what other people? If your confidence comes from outside of yourself, then you are lacking confidence, period. I mean, other people's opinion may like help boost
Sway
it,
you and
but
help
it
you.
has
Yeah.
to come from within, not from. What if you get around a bunch of introverts who won't say anything? Then you don't have confidence at the time. You think you're cute, and you around a bunch of people who don't talk. Then now you're not cute because no one said you were cute. Like that's
Yeah. I see. Dang, I picked some whack questions.
Right, but it right. I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. If you are confident, then those things don't matter.
no.
Okay, let me be realistic. Let me be realistic because sometimes you, like Tanya said, you could. I don't want to. I don't have. Sorry.
All right. So outside of other people's opinions of you, it comes from within. I think it comes from you making a decision. Well, so for me, I am a spiritual person. I have a relationship with God. I care about what God says about me. So if God says that I'm a winner, God says I'm an overcomer, God says that, all of these things, then that for me, that's where it has come from. I've been like that since I was a kid. So I don't think anybody trumps God. So other people's opinion, if it doesn't line up with what God said about me, it's really irrelevant for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a tough one, actually. I mean, because people will persuade you, or you could hear 100 positive comments and 2 negative ones, and you focus on the negative, knowing you are the bomb. I mean, and as an entertainer, like sometimes when I get off stage, and I'm like, damn, like I'm really hard on myself, and then everybody's like, oh no, you were super funny, and I'm like, okay. But then I have to go back into myself and realize, come on, Dawn, like, you gonna quit? Like, so it's kind of tricky. So some people,
I can see it from your perspective, Don.
Yeah. I think that it can influence it, but yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to.
Like, sometimes I'll be on suicide watch for about 3 hours and like check on me in the morning because I'm sad as hell. Those bombs have.
I can so from a perspective of being like an entertainer or even me as a creator, I can see your craft where you may lose confidence in your craft based on other people's opinions, because other people's opinion, I'm making my craft, Don is entertaining other people. And so what they have to say does matter, because you're putting this out there not for you, but for them. So that does make sense in that sense. But like her craft and what she and entertaining and personal, like she can look good on stage and she knows she look good, but if no one laughed during her show, or I made something, no one purchased anything from me, then I'm still going to be a confident person. I'm confident in what I made, but it will take me back a little bit, because what I expected from this didn't actually happen.
I think it's safe to say that you can have confidence in different areas. So, right? So you're saying for your craft. So I think I would say Ronnie is confident in her ability to code. You're confident in your ability to create. Dawn is confident in her ability to make people laugh. I'm confident in being able to educate people or give people information. So, but that doesn't necessarily, like if somebody comes and says, Dawn, you're not funny, I don't think that's going to make her think she's not funny. You know what I mean?
Or have a question. Like, wait.
Yeah, but if she's on stage and she wrote all this stuff, like, oh, they're gonna be cracking up, and everybody's like, huh?
But okay, so Dawn, let me ask you this question, because
where they go on stage and smack her. No.
What I was gonna say is, Dawn, though, if that happened one time, you're not going to, I mean, you might be sad that night, but I don't think that just because one audience didn't laugh that you're going to be like, I'm not funny. You're going to be like, wrong crowd, right?
Like, yo, son.
It makes you go back and reevaluate
and rethink. Like now in my career, no. So, but it's a bruise to the ego, though. Like, okay, I gotta fix this.
Okay.
And you have to think of the demographic. You got to think of the elements in the room or whatever happened. But in the beginning, like I said, I would be like, check on me every 2 hours.
Okay. I can see that. I get it.
I might take myself out tonight. But it's really tough. But it's in the public eye. But personally, how I feel about myself is right. You're right. It's two different arenas. It does have to do with what is it? Confidence.
Yeah, confidence.
I think it's confidence and self-esteem. Those are kind of similar, or no?
Or it's confidence within yourself and confidence in your craft.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Like confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Did anybody have any last or closing remarks before I close the show? Because we are 3 minutes over. Oh, I like your mug. All right.
Easily.
All right, so we're good. All right.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to close. Thank you for tuning in to Candid Conversations this week. Appreciate you stopping by. Ronnie Frost with Frost Steam Lab. Don't forget to check her out. I hope that Vanessa is getting some rest. And thank you to the ever so popular Girl Talk panel, LaTanya, Dawn, and myself. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And next week, we will have Boss Chick Fatima Turner and Taryn T Money Honey will be back with the spotlight on money. This is your host, reminding you to know and embrace true love because you're worth it. Have a blessed week and good night.